Let us discuss the second last passage of the paper, passage number 9. The passage here says that National Food Security Bill was passed by both houses of parliament and was given a nod by the president in the year 2013. It has now become an act. Now, this legislation is a landmark in perhaps the largest food security program in the world, because this act is indeed an important effort to ensure that the majority of population in India has access to adequate quantity of food at affordable prices. However, now there is a contradiction. In the first part of this passage, the author is trying to say that whatever this National Food Security Act is, it is an important effort because it will ensure that that majority of population in India has access to adequate quantity of food at affordable prices. But then in the later part of the passage, he makes a contradiction to this statement, and he says that however this act needs to be carefully evaluated to take into account not only the cost of food subsidy but also the additional cost of setting up, running new institutions and bureaucracies, and the additional costs that are likely to arise if there are political pressures to protect the existing beneficiaries. So basically, when these additional costs are taken into account, the Food Security Act entails higher burdens than currently envisaged. So this is the contradiction that he has made, that although it's a good act, it is in a good direction, but there are certain factors that need to be taken into account, because these factors, these additional costs may entail higher burdens than currently we are seeing. So let us have a look at the questions now. Consider the following statements about National Food Security Bill. Increased infrastructural cost can lead to the failure of the act. Well, this appears to be an incorrect statement. Let's see why. Because the author here says that the Food Security Act needs to be carefully evaluated to take into account not only the cost of food subsidy but also the additional cost of setting up, running new institutions and bureaucracies. That's what we are talking about, infrastructure here. So he's just saying that these additional cost with respect to food subsidy or infrastructure needs to be taken into account. He never says that this increased infrastructural cost can lead to failure of the bill. So therefore this is an incorrect statement. It helps poor households in getting ample quantity of food grains. Well, stated in the this is stated in the very first few lines of the passage, where it says that that uh, that why this act is important, because with this the majority of population in India has access to adequate quantity of food at affordable prices. So here we are talking about adequate quantity of food at affordable prices and not ample quantity of food. Therefore this is also an incorrect statement, because there's a good difference between ample and adequate. Adequate is just sufficient and ample is more than sufficient. It's plentiful. The third statement says the bill was first passed by both the houses of parliament and was then presented to the president of his assent. This is also taken from the very first line of the passage, which says that the bill was passed by both houses of parliament and was given a nod by the president in 2013. So this statement simply tells us that the bill was passed by both houses and was given a nod by the president. We do not know whether first the bill was passed and then it was given a nod by the president. because here in this statement it says that the bill was first passed by both the houses and was then presented to the president for his assent. So we cannot be sure of this, because from this we can, although we can infer that the president gave his assent to the bill only after the bill was presented to the it was passed by the both houses, but we still cannot infer that it was presented to the president after it was passed by both the houses, because it is very much possible that the bill was uh, presented everywhere at the same time simultaneously, but the president gave his approval only after it was passed by both the houses. So we have no clue about that, therefore this is an incorrect statement for us, and thus the answer will be D, as none of the above statements is correct. Which of the following costs need to be considered while evaluating the Food Security Act? Cost of grandfathering existing beneficiaries, cost of setting up new ration shops, cost arising out of political pressures, cost of food shortages. The author very clearly mentions what kind of cost needs to be taken into account. He first talks about the cost related to food subsidy, and then the cost related to the new development of setting up of new institutions and bureaucracies, and the additional cost that are likely to arise if there are political pressures to protect the existing beneficiaries. So these three kind of costs he is talking about. So well, here if you look at option B, it says cost of setting up new ration shops. Well, this is incorrect, because new institutions have been spoken about. They might or might not include ration shops, so we cannot be sure of this, therefore this cannot be the answer. Cost of food shortages, this is also incorrect, because cost of food subsidy and not food shortage is discussed in the passage, therefore this is also incorrect. Cost arising out of political pressures, yes, this has been stated in the passage, we just read it, we just discussed it. You can again refer to the line here which says that additional costs that are likely to arise if there are political pressures to protect the existing beneficiaries. So yes, cost arising out of political pressures is a correct statement. Cost of grandfathering existing beneficiaries. Now the term grandfathering here means that to exempt somebody to someone or something from a new law or regulation. Now cost of exempting existing beneficiaries from new law has not been spoken in the passage, therefore this can not be the answer. Thus our answer will be option C. Consider the following statements. The bill would cause a financial strain on the budget. Well, this is very clearly mentioned in the passage in the very last line, which says that when these are taken into account, as in the additional costs that the author is talking about are taken into account, the Food Security Act may entail significantly higher burdens than currently envisaged. So yes, as per this, it would cause a financial strain on the budget. So this is a correct statement. The objective of introducing the act is to eliminate hunger. Well, this is not mentioned anywhere that the objective is to eliminate hunger. The passage does state that the act will ensure adequate quantity of food grains at affordable prices, but does that mean that it will eliminate hunger? We do not know that. Also, when the passage says that the quantity of adequate food grains will be available at affordable prices, we cannot say that earlier the people did not have enough food to eat. It is also possible that food was adequate, but it was available to them not at affordable prices, probably at higher prices it was available. Therefore, this cannot be a correct statement. So the answer will be option A.